Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to another podcast dealing with the budgeting in three dimensions. Today, we're going to talk about the topic of the three phases of budgeting that guarantee success. Now, every person who has ever achieved lasting financial consistency follow three specific phases, and they follow these phases whether they knew it or not. Today, I'm going to name them, define them, and show you exactly how to use them. See, most people treat budgeting as a single event where you sit down, you write some numbers, put them all together, add them up, income, expenses, and then once you add them up, you hope for the best. But budgeting is a process with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Now, in the book, Budgeting in Three Dimensions, we break down this process into three phases. Now, if you miss any one of them, the whole system collapses. But if you execute all three, and consistency becomes almost inevitable. Now, this is not a theory. This is not a hypothesis. This is a repeatable month by month system that failed budgeteers can follow starting today. Now, when I want to frame what success is when it comes to budgeting, success is a process, not a personality trait. Consistency is the output of a working system, not a characteristic of some people who are born with it and others are not, which means you can find this consistency as well as the next person and the next person and the next person. And consistency is what we want to achieve. We want a system that will complete itself as opposed to just leave you hanging. Now, most budgeting methods give you a template. You get a plate to fill in the numbers, but a template is not a process. It has no sequence, it has no cadence, and there's no built-in course correction. Now think about it in these terms. A professional athlete doesn't just show up to compete. There's a preparation phase. You got to go to practice. You got to learn the plays. There's a performance phase, and that's when it comes to game time decision, what you're going to do. And then at the end, there's a review phase. So after the game is over, it's time to study film, time to look at what you did right, what you did wrong, and adjust. But if you remove any one of these, the performance suffers. Your budget works the same way. Without defined phases, every month feels like starting from scratch. There's no rhythm, there's no feedback, and there's no sense of forward progress. That's where the frustration kicks in. That's where you all of a sudden find you holding your face with your two hands. This is where you all of a sudden you decide yourself, this budgeting is not working. I might as well quit the process. Okay. But budgeting in three dimensions is a system that gives you money, a structured monthly process, one phase for each dimension. Okay. Structure creates the habit. When budgeting has a clear sequence, it becomes monthly rhythm instead of a monthly battle. Failed budgeters don't lack effort. Oh, they've been putting a whole lot of effort into it. They lack the sequence. And the three phases, budgeting in three dimensions, provides exactly that. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it a little bit. What's the first dimension? The first dimension is the projected budget, or what we could consider the planning phase. Now, when does this take place? Everybody knows about this because this happens before the month begins. The projected budget shows and reflects your intentions, your written plan for income, and the spending habit that should be before the month starts. What does it do for you? It gives you a financial intention. Without a written plan, every spending decision in the month is made without context. What it cannot do by itself. A plan with no tracking is just a wish list. The first dimension requires the second dimension to have any power. So think of this as a writing the script, but we haven't actually done anything yet. We just wrote the script for it. The rest of the month is the performance. And the performance is taken in the second dimension, which is the actual budget. Or you can look at this as the tracking phase. Now, when does this happen? This actually takes place once the month arrives. And every day that we go through the month, it's taking place, it's taking form, it's happening in real time. Okay? So the actual budget is a real-time record of every dollar spent, updated as the month unfolds. What does it do, though? See, it turns your plan into a live document. You can see at any moment whether you're on track, overspending, or you're ahead. What's the correct mechanism for this? This is where mid-month adjustments happen. So let's think about it. What was causing you to give up on your budgeting process previously? It always happened in the middle of the month. It was like the 15th of the month was the actual worst day for your budgeting. Why? Because there was something that took place, an emergency, some impulse spending, or something that took place that caused you to throw your hands up in the air and say, oh no, what are we going to do? The budget is blown. Okay? This is where mid-month adjustments happen. Without phase two, there's no way to course correct before the damage is done. Okay? And the damage is not done because of the emergency. The damage is done because you continue hoping that your original plan was going to work for you through the end of the month. But that emergency threw everything off. Now we need course correction. Okay? The actual budget is your scorecard. It doesn't judge, it informs. And informed decisions are always better than guesses. Okay? So now we get through the month, and now what? Well, it's time for the third dimension, which is the summary budget, or we could consider this the review phase. This happens at the end of the month and cumulatively over time. The summary budget is a monthly and a long-term view of patterns, variances, and financial progress. What does it do? It connects every month to the one before it. You stop seeing each month as isolated and start seeing your financial life as a trajectory. What does that mean? Okay. When does success become visible? It becomes visible during this phase, the third dimension, where efforts compound, trends emerge, habits shift, and progress is undeniable. The third dimension is not the end of the process, though. It's the fuel for the first dimension of the next month. The loop is what makes the system self-sustaining. So each phase has its distinct timing before the month, during the month, and at the end of the month. The cadence is what transforms budgeting from a chore into a rhythm. The three phases form a closed loop. You plan, you track, you review. You plan, you track, and you review. And again, and again, and again. That loop is the engine to financial consistency. Guaranteed is not a word to use lightly. Tie it back. When all three phases are executed every month, the outcome isn't luck, it's mathematics. Add one, subtract one, multiply, divide. That's what you're doing when you review and then you start planning again. Okay? Now, let me talk to you directly. Oh, yeah, I'm talking to you now. If you've been budgeting without all three phases, you haven't been failing. You've been running an incomplete process. Almost everyone does some version of phase one or the first dimension. Very few consistently execute the second dimension. And almost nobody has a third dimension. That's why the summary, the long view, never develops. You're always going from month to month, paycheck to paycheck. It's not white knuckling. I like that term, white knuckling. You're not white knuckling through every phase. It's having a system that catches your drift in the second dimension and recalibrates your intentions in the third dimension. Now, I want you to think about this vision. Think about this. 12 months from now, with all three phases running, you won't just have a budget. You'll have a financial record, a pattern of growth, and proof that the system works. So let's think about this a minute. How do you execute all three phases together? Okay. If you know the three dimensions is the unlock, but executing them every single month without slipping back to old habits require the right structure. And that's exactly what we've built. Budget in three dimensions. I'm talking about the Budget in Three Dimensions money management course. What does it deliver? It delivers a complete money management course built around all three phases: how to plan with intention, track with precision, and review with purpose. And you can find out more information on my website, robertfnewkirk.com. Who is it built for? People who understand the concepts, but have never had a clear, guided process for putting all three dimensions into practice consistently. What's the transformation here? By the end of the course, the three dimensions aren't theory. They're a monthly habit. You will form the habit of budgeting in three dimensions, guaranteed. Now let's talk about the Budget 360 application tool. What is it? It's a purpose-built application that mirrors the three-dimension structure: the projected budget for phase one, the actual budget for phase two, and the summary budget for phase three. And all of them are in one place. The tool provides that for you. Why is it different? The tool is the system. Every feature is designed to walk you through each phase in sequence, so the process becomes automatic over time. What's the compounding effect here, though? So after 3 months of using all three dimensions inside the tool, The patterns of your summary budget begin to tell your financial story. And that story motivates the next month's plan. And yes, I will say the summary budget is automatically done for you inside the tool. Now, all the details are in the show notes. So you can go back through our podcast and everything is laid out for you. So whether you start with the book, whether you start with the course, or whether you start with the tool, start with all three dimensions. That's where everything changes. The course teaches the why and how of each dimension. The Budget 362 is where the phases, the dimensions become live every month. Together, they close every gap that has caused budgets to fail. So now you can position the tool as the home of all three dimensions. Not just another financial app, but a structured, engineered around the exact process that you just learned. So let's sum this up. You got three dimensions, budgeting in three dimensions. You plan before the month, you track during the month, and you review at the end of the month. That's the complete process. That's what's been missing. So this month, I want you to execute all three phases. Don't just write the plan, track it, then review it. Do that for 90 days and tell me that budgeting in three dimensions doesn't work. You can get the full breakdown of budgeting in three dimensions. You can go deeper into the course and start executing with the Budget 360 application tool. Links are in the notes, but you can find everything at robertfnewkirk.com. Let me say that again, robertfnewkirk.com. Budgeting doesn't guarantee success, but the three dimensions executed every month, it absolutely does, because it allows you to complete the budgeting process. And that's where the consistency comes in. And that's where you'll get to experience the consistency. And then you're in the point where you're able to streamline your budget. And then you come across money that you didn't even know you had. This is not just an invitation for you. A 90-day challenge gives you concrete, time-bound commitment that turns the concept of budgeting in three dimensions into an experiment that you personally own. And that's what we've given to you in this new concept of budgeting in three dimensions. Thank you for listening, and I hope and pray that your budgeting experience turns around in the next 3 months. Thank you for listening.